Welcome back to the Inner Edge podcast. I am Chris. This is the show where we talk about fitness, coaching, and lifestyle. We cut through the noise of fitness, coaching, and the lifestyle so you can perform at your best physically and mentally. I'm Chris Jones. I'm a physio, an apprentice professional coach, and a personal trainer, and a man over 40 figuring out how to stay strong, how to stay sharp, and how to stay unstoppable. This week, I've got the privilege of being joined by Jack Reynolds, owner of Adjuvo Physiotherapy. His handle on Instagram is at JHR.Physio. If you're not following him, go and follow him. He's a sports physio working with some elite golfers. So I wanted to get Jack on because of his background, because of the amazing work that he's doing in physiotherapy and sport. So I know you from university, Jack, right? But I wanted to say congratulations before we start anything because I know that you've just become a dad. How's
Thank you very
that treating you,
much.
mate?
Mate, it's a whirlwind, absolute whirlwind. He's 6 days old as we're recording this. It's great. I mean, it's great. It's brilliant. He's a little bundle of joy. He's absolutely perfect. It feels like he's always been here, which is a very weird feeling. But it's going well so far. So far, so good. Future Masters champion in 2050 is what I'm going for.
Yeah, yeah. Coaching him already.
Yeah, straight away.
Yeah, yeah.
Within an hour of him being born, he was sat on my lap watching the PGA Championship on my iPad in hospital. So I've got him in. I've got him
Already,
in
mate.
early already.
The next Tiger Woods.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mate, you know that I'm a dad as well. So if you need any tips, mate, I'm here for you.
I'll take you up on that offer. You'll regret offering me that. I
No,
tell you.
that's fine, mate. Got your back. Right. So, as I said before, I know you from university. But give us a little bit of insight about your background. Like, where did you grow up? What sort of kid was you? Like,
Yeah. So grew up in Wolverhampton. Wolverhampton, born and bred. I now live in Hales Owen, just outside of Dudley. So still very much in the Black Country, and will probably always be a Black Country boy. As a kid, I was about people that we both know might disagree with this, but I was a fairly well behaved child. I was active, I was sporty, played a lot of football, as you always do. Was okay at school until I got to my A levels and sort of just dossed around basically. So ended up having to repeat year 12 at sixth form, which was a big eye opener for me. So I ended up doing 3 years of sixth form to get into uni. But yeah, childhood was good, really. In
did you
terms
have any
of
role models like growing up?
get me dad, yeah. Me and my dad are still like best mates to this day. Like we go to the Wolves together. We've been season ticket holders for 20 years. He started taking me when I was 12 years old, and we've gone every week, apart from last Sunday because I had a 1 day old child. But that's the first game in about
Nice.
20 years that I've missed.
Yeah.
Um,
Good excuse though, isn't it? Yeah.
but yeah, I'd say my dad just from everything really, work ethic, just the being a good person, everything that you want your dad to teach you, he did. Yes.
That's lovely, mate. You mentioned about coming from like Wolverhampton, being Black Country boy and stuff. Like, what makes you proud of like coming from that area?
A lot of things really. Probably not the football team at the minute. It's probably more to
Nice.
it's more to it than that. I think that you won't find better people in this area. Absolute salt of the earth people everywhere you go. Like, you can have a conversation with everybody. Everybody's is for the most part polite, approachable, will go out of their way to help you, and I think I'm proud of that. And I think I've always felt like the West Midlands and the Black Country it feels like a bit of a forgotten land.
Yeah.
Um, you know, London gets all the funding, Manchester gets a lot, but the Midlands seems to be a bit of the forgotten land. And I will always be proud to be from here. It's the greatest place on earth.
Yeah. Same here, mate. Like I have the same thoughts. I think London gets a lot of like the funding, a lot of the props and stuff, and you get a lot of sort of dogged on, like a lot of dogging on like West Midlands, like the accent and
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
or like even when it comes to talking about like Birmingham or Coventry or like or Wolverhampton, you mention these places and people go, "Oh, I wouldn't go there," and it's like, have you ever been there? Like,
yeah,
have you ever been to
yeah.
these places and seen the landmarks that we've got and the places around there that we've got and like like you say, the salt of the earth people that are coming through? Like, yeah.
Absolutely. I don't think there's ever been a conversation from that I've had with someone from that's not from Wolverhampton where I've said I'm from Wolverhampton, and the first thing they do is oh, I'm from Wolverhampton. They do the accent, they do the mocking, and they do all of that. It happens every time. And as you know, they say it's a bit of a hole, bit of a dive, and like you say, have you ever been? Have you ever been around it? There's lots, like everywhere. There's some not so great areas, but most of the time, most of the place is a great place to be, a great place to live.
Yeah. It's like you say, it's like anywhere. If you went to London, you'd still have the same thing. You still have the same
Yeah,
problem, but for some reason it's
100%.
it's glorified sometimes. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely,
big up the West Midlands.
absolutely.
Right. I wanted to touch on, so I've got you on because I wanted to talk about golf. I wanted to talk about physiotherapy. I know that you're working within golf and you're working with some elite golfers at the moment, but how did you end up working in professional golf?
I kind of stumbled on it, to be honest. So I made the decision last year that it was something that I wanted to kind of explore. I've been a golfer on and off for like the past 15 years now. And last year I decided that I'd said for years, I want to play more golf, I want to play more golf, I want to play, and I just never did. Made excuses, mate, I ain't got enough time, I ain't got this, I ain't got that. And then decided, no, I'm going to do it, I'm going to play. So really committed to it and just absolutely fell in love with it again. And it is my complete obsession. That and my newborn son are my complete obsessions. And it was while I was in my previous role, I was told to look for a clinical training course that I wanted to do, and found something called the Tight Least Performance Institute. So Tight Least are one of the biggest golf brands in the world, and they run a performance institute that is kind of it's four different avenues. You've got your medical side, you've got your power side, fitness, junior elements to it. So I've ended up training to be medical level 2 certified, and I'll be medical level 3 come December, and I'll be the only person outside of London with that, I believe. But so but I put this towards my previous employer and was essentially told, no, there's no value in it, which I completely disagreed with. Part of the reasons that I decided to just go out on my own and set up Adjuvo, which is Latin for I help, for anybody that's wondering where the name comes from, was because I wanted to get into golf. And then I went to my local golf course that I'm a member at, and professional golfers are aware of what TPI is. TPI is the Tightest Performance Institute. People in golf know what it is. Your amateur golfer, your casual golfer, it's still a fairly new thing, particularly in the UK. Having the professionals on side and knowing what it is and showing them what it can do has helped bring it in. And it's been good. It's been good so far. I've got a good caseload of it as well. I work in some fantastic places, and some very exclusive courses. Um,
Tell us about like that typical week for you then. So you just mentioned about like your fantastic places. Tell us about these places.
so my weeks vary at the minute. So I only set this up in January. I only started trading properly in January, so it's still very new. So from my own practice side of things, I'm not full time yet. Um, I'm about a day and a half, 2 days, coming up to 3 days a week where it's all of that. So on top of my own practice in Wolverhampton, I work in Birmingham for a good a good friend of mine has a physio practice, and I explained what I want to do, and he he works in professional football, and he's got physios that work with runners, and so it was a good addition to him to have another sport. So I'll do that in Birmingham, and then throughout the week I will work for a private physio company. Just seeing your standard clients, your standard physio clinic, a lot of occupational health stuff. So I've got quite a large occupational health background as well, county council work and things like that. And that's been really good because I've been able to be quite transparent with that company that I'm working alongside, because all of this is subcontracting work, and say, look, I'm doing this to pay my bills while I'm building this. And they're fine with it. They're absolutely fine with it because I've got the experience from my previous employer. The size of the company I'm working alongside at the minute is nowhere near the size of the company I was working for. So I think they're quite happy having me on board because they'll ask me questions about things and go, how did you do this? What was this like? And blah blah blah. So my week on week is so different. But my own practice is in Wolverhampton, and it's not just exclusively golfers that I work with. It's kind of like the main area that I want to go into and become full time in. But I also private medical insurance referrals, self-paying clients, sporting. My practice is in a gym, so people know that I'm there. They have they have a Pilates studio, a high rocks class, and all everything you'd want in a 2026 gym. So I get a lot of footfall from that as well. So I suppose to summarise, my week is so different week on week.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose that's like physiotherapy in general, though, isn't it? Like you can be doing certain things. I feel like we're frozen there. Hold on. Yeah, like yeah. I was going to say I think it's my connection, but I think we're
No,
freezing
you're
a little
okay.
bit. Yeah. So I was going to say like um the the profession at the moment, you can be so sort of dynamic and sort of working here, there, and everywhere. And I think it's a yeah, you're surprised when you get into physio how dynamic you sort of have to be. But yeah,
100%, I agree. But I quite enjoy it. I had 5 years of not being a clinician or as much of a clinician, and when I worked in my other job as an operations manager and like growing business side of things, I thought, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is where I see myself going. And then came to a very quick realization towards the back end of last year, going, no, I miss being a physio. It's what I trained to do. It's what I trained to be. And I think having that interest in the golf and finding something within that where I could then use those skills, I think kind of gave me that almost like epiphany moment in my head, going, no, what am I doing? This is not what I want to be doing. I want to be doing this. So, um,
yeah. So talk
yeah,
to me about that then. So how has your role sort of evolved from clinician to team lead to now golf physio?
yeah, I've kind of gone full circle, really. Um, when I qualified, did your standard rotations as band five in the NHS. I only did three rotations actually. I did orthopedics, respiratory, and MSK. And I knew that I wanted to be MSK from the off. I knew I wanted to be MSK, and I was very lucky in I was working at the Royal Wolverhampton NHS Trust. I was very lucky that when rotations came around, um, I always asked if I could stay on MSK rather than rotate. And because nobody else wanted to go on MSK, they were like, "Yep, fine, you can stay in outpatients, not a problem." And I did that probably 3 or 4 times. So I just like, "Can I stay?" And they're like, "Yeah, go on then." Then got a band six in outpatients and also a bit of elective orthopedics. So kind of combining the two. COVID happened, where I got redeployed to critical care. So I worked on ITU during the pandemic. Um,
I bet
went
that was a
back
bit of a
to
change.
it was, but it's in a weird sense. It was. it wasn't awful. Like, yes, the pandemic was awful, and it was a trying time for everybody. But I was lucky. I went to work. I didn't get furloughed. I could get out the house every day. I worked so much overtime that I could. It made me get a deposit for a house, you know. So I tried to take the positives. That I was very lucky that I could go out of the house every day. Yeah, I was working with critically unwell people, but I wasn't stuck in the house doing nothing. So I took that as got to try and take the positives of terrible situations. Went
Great mindset
went
to
back.
have.
Yeah, I think you have to, otherwise you can get so easily bogged down in these sort of things. But yeah, went back to outpatients. Then the second wave hit, so I went back to critical care. And then I decided, oh, I've had enough of the NHS here. So that's when I went into private as an operations manager, which I was there for 5 years, which was very much non-clinical. And I thought that's where I wanted to go in my career. I thought business development, that side of thing, was going to be what I wanted to do. But there was just a number of things that made me realise that wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't me. And then finding this golf certification and having it in my head that, you know, this is a niche. There's not many people that do it, that are aware of it. So if I can roll with this, then I can make a success out of it. And that's kind of what drove me back to being a clinician and just setting up my own practice and doing it for myself. Because I had the experience of running a business to a degree from my old job. So it's transferable skills, isn't it? So I've combined everything and it's full circle, really.
So what I'm hearing there, like, is more about like the passion side of things as well, like, and having that sort of purpose to sort of want to go into something that you actually find like you've got a passion for, and actually you want to drive that forward. Would you? I don't know. Would you agree?
No, 100%. I think you've got to be passionate about what you do. You have to care about what you do. And golf is my passion as a sport. And the things that I've learned from doing the accreditations that I've now got have just made that passion even stronger. I'm glad I found it, because I think if I hadn't have found something like this, I would still be in a job that I didn't enjoy, or doing something that I didn't enjoy. Whereas now, I'm back to looking forward to going to work. I enjoy going to work. I enjoy treating people. I enjoy being out on the golf course, which is a very nice luxury to have, and be paid to do it. So I am very lucky. I'm very lucky with some of the opportunities that it's been right place, right time. But then you have to make those opportunities work. So
I was going to say, would you put it down to like taking a risk as well? Like, because to me that sounds like a bit of a risk in terms of you've got like the safety of this job, but actually you can't. It's not something that you've got that passion about, and then you've got that something there where you're actually really passionate about it, and then it's taking that risk to sort of, do you know what, I'm just going to do this.
yeah, it's a huge risk. A few people said I was mad because I had a stable job, I had a stable income, and most people, when they start setting up their own practices, will keep their employed job and maybe do an evening a week to start setting up.
That's the advice, isn't
I
it?
I just went, nah, 1st of January, I'm going for it. I'm just going completely self-employed, which, when you contextualize doing that, so then it's not a guaranteed income with a 5-month pregnant wife at home,
What did she say?
it's insane. She, to be fair, she's been completely supportive the entire way. She's been completely supportive the entire way. I think she could see how my old job was affecting me mentally, and she basically was just like, everything else can be figured out, but you can't keep finishing work being like this. You have to go and do something. You know what I mean? So she's been great about the whole thing.
Yeah, I suppose like having that support as well, like knowing that you've got that support off your other half sort of gives you the confidence and the
It's
support, the reassurance to take that on, isn't it?
absolutely,
Look
yeah,
after
it's
yourself.
massive.
Yeah.
It's absolutely massive. Yeah.
Oh, mate. Yeah, like like I say, I'm yeah, sense of it being proud of you and a sense of like inspiration from you as well, mate. Do you know what I mean?
I
Like
appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, it took takes takes bollocks to go and do that, mate. And yeah,
Yeah, there are some days where I think, what the fuck have I done here? But then there are some days where I'm like, this is the greatest decision I've ever made.
yeah,
And I'm now at the point where there are more days where I'm thinking this is the best decision I've ever made than what the hell am I doing here? So it's
yeah,
turning that corner nicely.
yeah. Hope, more days like that. So
Hopefully.
yeah, thinking about that, what's something about being in a physio in golf that would surprise like the average Joe?
Most people don't realise how important their conditioning is for golf. Um, I'd say most people don't consider it at all. It's still got this stigma of it being an old man's sport. And with that, people think, you're just walking around swinging a golf club. There's little effort involved. There's little exertion needed. And the way I try and contextualize it with people is two ways. One, if you want to hit a ball far, number one, you need to be able to generate the power to do it, and you need to be able to swing a club at over 100 miles an hour to be able to do that sort of thing. Like you need power, you need a power reserve to do that. And number two, purely objectively speaking, most golfers aren't the best at golf. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people are going to be scoring over 100 each round, so they're going to be taking over 100 shots. So if you're walking 6,500 yards, which is however many miles, carrying a bag which is going to be 10 to 20 kilograms, and swinging a club, rotating over 100 times in a 4 hour span, you're going to be at risk of injury. And I think the education around that, and also that, people can go to a golf coach and a golf professional, and they can look at their swing and say, you need to be able to do this. You need to, you need to open your upper body more in your backswing, or you need to rotate your pelvis more in the downswing. Can your body even do that? Like, do you even have the physical capabilities to be able to do that? And that's where I come in. That's kind of part of what my role is. But it takes more effort than people realise, basically,
Yeah.
to play
I think
golf and play golf well.
that's the thing, mate. Like, I think like there's a lot of focus on like, oh, it's technique and all that sort of stuff. Like, and um, I'm not a golfer. Like, I can't play. I've played pitch and putt, and I've got injured off that. So, so I can't walk that distance. But like you say, I think you turn up and you think to yourself, "Oh, it's just hitting a couple of balls." But there's so much more involved in that, like in what you have to do. Like I say, I'm not a golfer. I've ended up with like abrasion injuries on my hands. I'm like because I'm holding it too tight. I've got to the end of like 12 holes or so, and my traps are killing me because, like you say, the killer bag. And when you start off, you think, oh, this is all right. It's quite light, but the repetition out of that, like that's where the issues come, isn't it? So, like, what what
100%.
what are the most common issues that you're seeing that are coming into clinic from like people over 30?
I'd say the most common one is lower back, obviously, and I see it from two different perspectives. From the occupational health stuff I do, manual workers who come in and say that they're not doing their manual handling correctly. Now, I have my own opinion on that sort of thing. Where I don't, it's not the way you lift it; it's the load that you're lifting and the capacity that you've got to be able to do that, rather than bend with a straight back. But that's another conversation entirely. And from a golfer's perspective, it's lower back as well. And from a golfing perspective, most injuries with their lower back come from the inability to pelvic tilt. It's honestly, it's something so simple as that. And their inability to dissociate their upper body from their lower body. So if you were to try and backswing and just move your upper body, can you keep your lower body completely still, or is it going with it? When people can't pelvic tilt properly, what they will do in a golf swing, particularly on the downswing, is they will stand up too quickly, so they will extend too quickly in their swing, which basically causes that action, that up and down action, quite often in their lower back. But then that means that their pelvis is occupying the space where their arms need to go.
Yeah,
So then that causes upper body issues, shoulder mobility issues. So there's a lot of things in golf, and the injuries are down to such simplistic movements that people don't ever consider. Like, you don't, most people over 30 don't think, can they anteriorly pelvic tilt, because they don't think they have to be able to do it. But it's key in golf. A lot of injuries come from such simple movements like that.
so like mentioning around like the injuries and that sort of stuff, like, so what I find is that some men sort of go to a lot over 30, get over 30, and then they go from like being active to injured or inconsistent. Like, what are your thoughts? Like, do you think that men do that, or why do you think men do that?
I think it can be multifactorial, really. Obviously, when you're over 30, so I'm 31 now, and I'm a prime example. I've just had a child. That that takes up a lot of your time, particularly in those early weeks, early months. Diet, hydration, sleep, all those things that people think about and talk about, they're well documented. But I personally believe that people, if you're going to train, you need to train for a purpose. You need to have something you're training for, rather than just going to the gym and just training in general. I think you need to train for a purpose. So my training is all golf related. I won't do anything that isn't going to improve my game of golf. But that's my purpose. That's my focus. And I think a lack of focus and a lack of purpose in their training reduces motivation, creates disillusionment, and stops people going. So there needs to be a clear target. What do you do in your daily life that you need to be well conditioned for, in like specifically?
Yeah. So is that like what does training smarter actually look like for someone that's over 30 who wants to stay fit for golf? What would you be your advice around that?
It's I suppose it's very nuanced. I in the environment that I'm in, I will work with some people that have plenty of time to commit to it,
Yeah.
or I'll work with your amateur golfers or your casual golfers that play once a week and they work 12-hour shifts and they do God knows what. They have kids, they do, other commitments. So I think the way I always try and do it as like an introductory thing to get people involved and get people motivated is fitting training around your day rather than fitting your day around the training. So everybody, no matter what you do, everybody has a few minutes here and there in their day when they've got free to when they're doing nothing. Nobody is 100% busy 100% of the time. The kettle's boiling, you've got time there. Dinner's cooking, you've got time there. There's ad breaks on telly, you've got time. So I always think training smarter is building almost like a home-based plan to introduce people into these exercises where you can, or these training plans, whatever, where it's like, right, every time you find yourself sat there doing absolutely nothing, go and do this or go and do that. And then it builds it into their day.
Yeah, yeah. It's those simple things, isn't it? Like if you go to if you're standing at the coffee machine, if you're doing those sorts of things, putting those little like exercise in, like how so you've just had a baby. Like, what is your kind of training sort of going to look like now going forward, or have you considered that?
I have considered it. I'm very lucky. So I'm probably not a great example personally. Um, Everywhere I work has a gym.
There you go.
So I I still get the chance to do what I need to do because
Yeah,
my personal practice in Wolverhampton is in a gym. Where I work in Birmingham is in a gym. When I'm at JCB Golf, for example, I've got a full gym, so I can do it when I'm at work. The only difference would probably be I won't do it for as long as I normally would because I need to get home or I'm not leaving as early or whatever it may be. But yeah, I'm very lucky in the environments that I work in that it won't affect me too much.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the fact that like you say, you've got the chance to go to the gym. So I'm just thinking about like if people are watching this, it is sort of it's that, isn't it? It's making sure that you've got that chance to go, so that or building it into your day, as you were saying, so you can go and do that. Like, because otherwise it does get overwhelming. Like for any new dad, any new mom, like when it comes to it, that you still need that little bit of downtime to be able to process what's happening, like, and to sort of
Yeah,
vent what's
100%.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously that looks different for new mums and new dads and things, just because of like the physical demands of it. But like even if it's just like a short walk or those little exercises that you're doing at the coffee machine, or little exercises that you're doing while you if you are just finding yourself just sat down for a bit. I wanted to get your insights on some golf specific stuff. You've already touched on what golf demands of people physically, that people are underestimating. But what can non-golfers learn from how golfers train and manage their bodies?
They do all the boring stuff all the time and consistently. They do they do the things that nobody enjoys doing. Um, and I think it goes for any sport. You know, people become professional athletes in a certain sport because they want to play that sport. They want to play golf. They want to be on the course. They want to be on the range. They want to be hitting golf balls. But they know in order to do that well, they need to be in the gym working on power, working on flexibility, working on that explosive power from the lower body. And they know that they have to do the stuff that they don't necessarily enjoy to be good at the very thing that they enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were like, so I was talking to Jordan last week, obviously, our mate, and he was saying the same thing, like just drilling the basics, do the basics, and the basics will pay off in the end, sort of thing. Um,
Yeah, and you find it a lot in amateur golfers as well. Like, I'll have people because for me, I don't necessarily just work with injured golfers. I can work with anybody, do like injury prevention stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Someone's picked up golf clubs 4 weeks ago, and I'm like, what do you want to achieve? I'm like, oh, I want to hit it 280 yards. I'm like, okay, well, let's work on your hit. You need to hit it straight first. Like, you need to do the basics. And it kind of integrates in that. I mean, I'll make the caveat, I'm not a golf coach, so I never teach people how to play golf. I get their body ready to be able to play golf. But they're like, I want to work on this because I want to hit it far. And I was like, okay, but is it going on the fairway? Let's work on that first. Let's work on your physical capabilities there. But it's almost like, I call it like the YouTuberification of golf. All these content creators that can hit it super far and they can do this and do that. And that's all people care about. And it's like, I'm a golf purist. That ain't golf. That's not what it's about. Like, it's you've got to do the basics. You know, in football, you might be able to score a volley from 30 yards instinctively, but if you can't do a 5 yard pass, then what good are you
yeah,
in football? So I think it's drilling those back and help making people understand that those basics are fundamental to anything that you want to do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot, in terms of what you're saying around like the YouTubeification, like the social media influence, even around like health and fitness and stuff, because it's all extreme, isn't it? Like, but that like the boring basics, they're not sexy. People don't really want to watch them, and they don't want to do them because like they're boring. But they see these like sexy videos of like you're saying, drilling a golf ball like for 1,000,000 miles, or yeah, crossbar challenges and all that sort of stuff. But it's to get to that point, those people would have been drilling some of the basics first. But that sort of the extreme of that, and the application to that isn't the same sort of thing sometimes. Um, if you were going to take one thing from golf training and apply it to life, what would it be, Jack?
That's a good question. I suppose it's similar to the previous question. I'd do the basics.
Yeah,
I'd get get the basic things in life right, and then
yeah,
you can excel into doing anything else. I think you need to, you know, it, this might sound like a bit of a daft example, but I've set up my own business. I'm not going to be able to do that if I can't understand my profit and loss and my revenue and my corporate, my tax revenues and things like that. So I have to learn those basic, boring things. Accounting bores the life out of me, absolutely bores the life out of me. But I have to know it to be able to run my practice. So I think it's very similar. You know, in life, you need to be able to do the basics well, no matter what you're doing. You know, you cooking dinner. You know, you might want to be able to cook these extravagant dinners, but if you can't fry an egg, then you're onto a loser. If that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It does, mate. Okay. So I'm conscious we've got probably about 10 minutes left, but I know that you've been a leader, and I wanted to touch on this experience really. So, what did leading teams teach you about people and performance?
The key one was attitude reflects leadership. That was the key thing. If people aren't performing in your team, you need to look at yourself. You need to look at how you're managing that team. Attitude reflects leadership is the massive takeaway for me in anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's setting the example, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
people are
yeah,
looking
hundred
up
percent.
to that leadership and setting that example of what the expectations are. So, as a leader, what does being healthy or fit mean to you?
Um, I would say it's being able to do everything that you want to do with the lowest risk of harm, lowest risk of injury. You know, you can never eradicate injury risk completely. So it's doing everything that you want to be able to do, but also enjoying life. I don't think that optimum health equals optimum happiness. Um, you can train and do everything you want, but if you want a takeaway, have a takeaway. If you want to have a pint. You've got to balance the two because you can be at your absolute peak physical health, but I personally don't know anybody who is then at their like peak mental health at the same time. So there has to be a trade off in that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you say, I think there needs to be a balance within that, doesn't there? Because I- if you're an amateur, you and you're uh, if you play football on a Sunday, you can't train and eat and sleep like a professional athlete because you've got
Exactly,
work on top of that. so, so there's no point in trying to
exactly.
train like a professional athlete. You will have variance in that, and you need to sort of have um like you say, there needs to be a bit of a trade-off in terms of what you're trying to achieve and living your life at points.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Um, so if we're thinking about for men over 30, if a busy man comes to you that's over 30s and he's saying he feels stiff, tired, and inconsistent, where would you start with that?
I'd want to delve deeper into what they mean because feeling stiff, tired, and inconsistent can be very umbrella and very generic. Um, I'd delve into what they think is causing it and what steps they've already taken to try and alleviate that. Um, and then kind of similar to what we've touched on, what free time have you got? And normally when I ask that question, people say I don't have any free time. I was like, so then like okay, so when the kettle's boiling, are you doing something else, or are you just waiting for the kettle to boil? He's like, I'm waiting for the kettle to boil. Okay, well, there's some free time there. And then it starts making sense in their head what I'm trying to get at. So I always try and establish what free time they have, what do they enjoy doing, because I will always try and avoid giving things to people that they don't like doing, because I would, you've got to create buy-in, you've got to create compliance with what you're trying to get people to do, so they've got to actually like what they do. So establishing those fundamentals before anything else is key.
I love the fact that you said like I'd explore it more, like I'd ask them more questions, like if coming at it from like a so within coaching, that's the first thing that you'd sort of do is like ask those more curious questions, and obviously within the physiotherapy realm and what we do in our holistic assessments is delve deeper, ask those
Yeah,
more like
absolutely.
more probing questions. So I absolutely love that, as you said, you'd delve deeper, you'd ask those questions, and that's where you sort of start. Because it gets them thinking, doesn't it? Just more about, oh, what is actually the problem? And like, yeah, I'm saying that I haven't got the time, but yeah, I've just spent 2 hours scrolling Instagram.
Yeah, and
Like,
I'll have incidences where people say, "Oh, there's nothing really that causes," and nothing really that causes it. I've got a little bit of back pain. It doesn't happen all the time. There are people where I've just said, "In it, things are going to hurt. That's fine. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
yeah.
We can do this to make sure it doesn't become a significant problem in the future. But you're going to hurt. It is just life.
Yeah. And it's that as well, isn't it? It's the education around like actually there is some discomfort that you can have and still do the exercises, but like
Absolutely.
it will get better if you do it for longer.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
okay, so I've got another question for you, mate, and then we'll just wrap up with some quick fires if that's all right. So,
Absolutely.
um, what's one thing men think they need but actually don't from your perspective?
Ooh, hey, that's a good question. They don't need to match the physical appearances of everybody that they see on social media to be able to do the same things. They just don't. Um, Function doesn't come from looks. The looks comes from the function. I'm a very slight man. Like, I'm tall and I'm fairly slim build, but my power's good. And I'm not there thinking, oh, but I haven't got purely defined muscles. I haven't got this. I haven't got that. Because I can do it. I can do what I need to do. And again, I'm training for function. I'm training for what I want. So you don't need the look to be able to do what you want to do at all.
Yeah.
And golf's a great example. You'll have some golfers that are physically fit based on the normative standards, but then you'll have golfers that look like they've just rolled out of a pub, and they are just as good, if not better. You don't need the physical appearance; you just need the physical fitness.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, mate. Right, I'm going to move on to the quick fire questions, mate. So best book you have ever read?
I've got it right here, actually. Letters from a Stoic.
Oh, okay, like that,
Yeah,
mate. Yeah.
that's my favourite book. It's something I always kind of go back to it a little bit, and it's about Lucius Seneca, one of the Roman philosophers, back when Augustus, I believe it was Roman emperor. And there's it's yeah, I like Stoicism, and there's parts in here on the healing power of the mind, on the care of health and peace of mind, facing the world with confidence, old age, you know, things that you
I
can
love that, mate.
will buy. So yeah, letters from a Stoic.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody watching, that's the book of choice for this week. Um, is it a big book? Can you get through it in a week or?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's
Yeah.
easy enough.
Right. Best investment for health under £100. What would be your suggestion?
Best investment for health under £100.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, there's loads that come to mind, but they're all 500 quid. Um,
That's golf
you
for
you
you.
can get that is golf, yeah. Proper first world. That was a first world answer if there ever's been one, isn't there?
I
I
wasn't
think you
going
can
to
get.
say that.
Yeah, that's God. That's out of touch. That's not very black country of me. Um,
Yeah.
you can get smart watches that are under £100 that can give you everything you need in terms of your steps and your health and reminders to drink water, reminders to stand up and move. So I'd say I think I've got a smartwatch and it's been brilliant and I think they're a great investment and you can get some good ones under £100.
Right. Best advice you've ever been given?
Uh, Nobody else gives a shit about what you're doing.
Love
I
that.
think
Yeah.
that yeah, nobody else cares. Nobody else cares,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I think it's massive in training that most people don't go to the gym because they're worried about what they look like in front of other people. No one cares.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just crack on with your own life. Yeah. Um, One thing you wish more men took more seriously earlier in life.
Their physical health, I think, um, as a physio, I think it'd be ironic of me to say it otherwise. I think genuinely believe if in PE lessons at school a warm up involved squats and deadlifts, the incidence of back pain that we'd see would be so much less. So much less. I think
Yeah.
you've got to do the basics and things like that from a very early age and instill it in them, and you'd see. Granted, we'd have less work because less people would be injured, but
Don't mind it.
squats and
Don't mind it.
deadlifts,
Yeah.
in PE,
Yeah.
massive,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
I know.
that's any gender, anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%, mate. I think actually bring back like the old school PE stuff, man. The hopping, the
Yes,
jumping, like yeah,
yes,
bring that back.
absolutely, yeah.
We should start a petition, shouldn't we? Right. Yeah. 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 One exercise you secretly hate.
I don't. To be fair, I don't like deadlifts. I don't like them, but I know they're good for me, and it powers me through because I've got hamstrings made of concrete. I can't. I've never been able to do a foot like I've never. The form has never been the best, so I've never enjoyed them. But I know they're good for me, and I know they're good for my golf game, so I do it. But I
Do
don't
it
like them.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's your go-to training theme song?
I don't. I don't think I have one. Um, I'm very much go on SoundCloud, find a mix, stick it on, see where the wind takes me with it. I don't really have a
Genre?
goat.
Do you
More
just
like garage and drum and bass. Yeah,
Okay,
all
there
day,
we go.
all
Yeah.
day, all day. That's what I'm going for. But in terms of a specific one, nothing specific. But yeah, onto SoundCloud, garage, drum bass, get a 90-minute mix on, job done.
Love it, mate. Love it. Right, before I wrap up, I've got one last question. Who in your network would be a great guest for this podcast?
Um, there's a chap that I've met through the golfing world, a chap called Ali. He runs his own podcast. It's called Chasing Pars, and I was on it the other week. So he's a golfer, but he has several young kids, a full-time job, and still juggles to be able to play golf and do the things that he loves. So, and he's got a really probably a good life experience in how he does it, rather than from a physio's point of view, advising this from a physical health. That he's like the man on the ground
Yeah,
who's able to juggle everything that he wants to be able to do, and very well as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's amazing, mate. I'll try and grab his contact details off you after and get
yeah,
that
absolutely,
sorted. See if
yeah,
he wants to come
100%.
on. Right, so this has been the Inner Edge podcast for this week. We hope that you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week when we're talking to a professional coach, um, getting their perspective on how coaching can support men and why some men just don't get it really. I'd love your feedback on the podcast. This show is as much for you as it is for me. So drop a comment or DM me on Instagram at the Inner Edge Coach on topics that you want to bring to this podcast or the guests. I've got a few interviews coming up with heroes from the local area, from psychologists, and from a hopefully from a TV doctor. So this has been the Inner Edge. I hope that you've taken something from this, and until next time, keep pushing, stay consistent, and keep finding your inner edge.